From being seen as a super team where everyone would click right away,
because I thought it would all just slot, forgive the pun, perfectly,
to a team that is very beatable.
Arne sort of has to look at the big picture here. Liverpool, yet again, were not half the side they were last year.
From being the best team in the country to looking shaky.
And everyone right now is just a bit off it. Confidence is low.
What the hell happened with Liverpool?
But this is certainly a mini crisis.
It feels like every Liverpool fan has something to say right now. Some are calm, others are losing it a bit. But everyone agrees that something just isn't right with this team right now.
Liverpool, not quite right.
We have to improve, we have to adjust.
Let's start with the obvious. No team that wins the transfer window automatically starts winning on the pitch. That's like a rule in football. Real Madrid added just one superstar to a team that had won the double the year before, and they got worse. Think about it. All they did was add one Kylian Mbappe, who won the Pichichi by the way, yet the dynamics of the team were messed up. Then look at Real Madrid's transfer window in the summer of 2009. That was similar to what Liverpool did. A bunch of superstar, bunch of mega signings all at the same time, and guess what? It didn't work right away. The Galacticos ended up having to wait till their third season in 2012 to win La Liga, and they had to wait 2 more years to win La Decima. By that time, players had come and gone, managers had come and gone. Then look at PSG. They added Ramos, Hakimi, and Messi all in one window to a team that already had Neymar and Mbappe, yet they didn't see success until all those guys were gone. This is always the case when teams spend big and bring in a bunch of players all at the same time. They need time to develop their chemistry and just gel with each other on the pitch. For Liverpool, this is even harder because they also lost a bunch of players. Yes, Ekitike and Isak and Wirtz are wonderful players, but losing players like Diaz, Nunez, Trent, and Jota, rest in peace, is not easy. Even someone like Nunez, who we clown so much, played a role in Liverpool winning the league. He understood where to be and pressed from the front, something that we have seen Isak struggle with. Then Luis Diaz was wonderful, another player who worked so hard but also got you some output. Whether he was playing as a left wing or false 9, he was always helping the team. And for those Liverpool fans who might have doubted him, well, he's killing it at Bayern. Then there's Trent. As much as I love clowning this guy and making fun of him, at the end of the day, he was an unreal right back. He offered so much creativity, and while people mocked his defending, the fact that he didn't overlap actually made him protect Liverpool from counters more than what we are seeing right now. So Liverpool got a lot of new faces, but they also lost some depth. Then Jota passing away definitely hasn't helped the team's emotions. How could it? This was a guy who helped the team win the Premier League, and then he was just gone. People mocked Van Dijk for bringing it up after Liverpool lost to Chelsea, but here's Salah very emotional after a win against Bournemouth.
Mo Salah is close to tears there, man.
Yeah. Not to mention even Maresca empathized with the club.
In any case, is fantastic, especially after Jota tragedy. I live exactly the same when I was player 20 years ago, and it's not easy for the players, it's not easy for the club, it's not easy for the manager when you arrive at the training ground and you see every day that place empty.
Losing a player is never easy, and Salah's sudden drop in form shows that. I don't think a player as good as him just goes from being the best player in the Premier League, a Ballon d'Or contender, to Egyptian Garnacho overnight. He is clearly still mourning the loss, and so is the whole club. The football just doesn't look like Liverpool.
And they are too open all the time. Jamie Carragher mentioned about them being, it's like a basketball game, and I totally get that. And that's what he said today, it was end to end. That isn't what Liverpool were last year.
The pressing isn't sharp, the attack looks disconnected, and there's no real flow going forward. A lot of fans think that Arne Slot is trying too hard to copy PSG. You know, the high pressing, possession heavy, flashy style that Luis Enrique's side uses.
So I like it that our players like to play football, and I think last season we were a joy to watch, like for example Paris Saint-Germain, who do similar things like this.
But the problem is, they don't have the players for that. PSG can do it because they've got world-class fullbacks and fast wingers who can press and stretch the game. Liverpool's front line though feels very slow and out of sync. The attack is a big issue. Players like Isak and Ekitike barely get touches. Salah's dropping way too deep just to get involved, and there's hardly any movement in the box. It's all just too slow.
They're creative players, they're players in the final half of the pitch, the midfield players and the forwards were absolutely useless. They were giving the ball away like you wouldn't believe.
You could also make the argument that these problems didn't start this season. A lot of them were visible in the back end of the previous season too.
We have to analyze, we have to improve, we have to adjust, not only because of the first part of this season, but also the second part of last season.
Back then, they got away with it because the league was wrapped up so early. Now though, it's exposing how disconnected the team really is. And then there's the build-up play, and my god, it's rough. At times, it's very difficult to watch. This clip going around basically sums it up. Slow passing, no urgency, poor decision making. It's like the whole team is stuck in slow motion. Every movement feels delayed, like they're second guessing everything. People are frustrated because it's not just about it being slow, it's about the lack of purpose behind the passes. There's no tempo, no quick 1-2s, no sharp play through the lines, just endless sideways passes. And then a random long ball up the pitch hoping Gakpo or Salah can make something happen. One of the most entertaining teams from last year have turned into a hoof and inshallah squad. Fans miss the urgency that Liverpool used to have, both last year and under Klopp. The fast transitions, the aggressive pressing, the chaos that made opponents panic. Now it just feels flat. Even when the team's losing, there's no energy or spark. It's like they're just going through the motion. Liverpool missed Trent a lot, especially in the build-up. Last season, him and Konate build a nice rhythm. Trent would drop in, receive the ball, and play those trademark passes in behind or into the midfield. Without him, the team looks clueless. Konate doesn't have that passing outlet anymore, and you can tell, he's been way too sloppy on the ball.
Konate looks like he's struggling.
But he caused, especially Konate, huge problems. I mean, who doesn't cause Konate problems right now? What happens here? He goes through Osimhen. The goalkeeper, again, who was outstanding, saves another 1v1, gets injured. I don't know what he's done, but the injury comes from Konate again. This is happening every game. I've been a centre-back, I've made mistakes like that, but he's making that mistake every game without fail.
That's why missing out on Marc Guéhi in the transfer window hurts so much. He was a defender who was comfortable on the ball and would have added more composure at the back. Speaking of the back line, one of the players who just hasn't integrated nearly as well as I thought is Kerkez.
The boy Kerkez, to be honest with you, at this moment in time, he looks like a youth team player. And that's not being sort of, I know he's a good player, but he looks like he's playing for the under-21s, for the youth team, for the academy. He looks so naive. He looks like a baby out there. Like, you're thinking, come on. He's losing 50-50s over on that far side against Neto.
Considering he had played in the Premier League, I thought his transition would be seamless. I don't really understand why he's being used the way he is. Instead of bombing up and down the wing like he did at Bournemouth, he's being told to come inside and play like an inverted fullback. It's clearly not his game. He looks uncomfortable, and it's dragging down the build-up even more. Gakpo doesn't help him either. He often ignores Kerkez when he overlaps, making that side of the pitch very predictable and easy to defend. Gakpo has just one move that he spams over and over again. If it works, it looks fantastic. If it doesn't, it looks pretty ugly. In fact, outside of Ekitike, none of the new signings have really made an impact. The Frenchman has been the best signing by far. His only mistake was taking his shirt off against Southampton. Other than the fact that he has gotten goals, he's creating something every time he gets the ball. And more importantly, he actually wants the ball. Too many times I've watched Liverpool this season, and it seems like players don't want the ball. They don't check in to receive it at their feet, they're not moving around. Then we have Frimpong, who hasn't looked at his best yet either. Now, to be fair to him, he was injured for a bit, but as expected, he hasn't looked comfortable as a right back or as a right winger, which makes sense given the fact that the last few seasons, he played as a hybrid of the two positions at right wing back. Isak has looked sharp at times on the ball, but off the ball, he still doesn't look match fit. Probably due to the fact that he missed most of preseason being on strike at Newcastle. When you train by yourself, you aren't going to be as sharp as training with the whole team. He's the guy I'm least worried about though. He's already Premier League proven and he's just too talented not to eventually click. Same thing can be said about Wirtz. He's been okay, some flashes here and there, but he's playing nowhere near his level and nowhere near the quality you would expect from a player so expensive. People will focus on the lack of goals and assists, but a big reason for that is that other players have missed the chances he creates. The bigger problem is that it looks like it's going to take him some time to fully adjust to the physicality of the Premier League. While both the new players and the established guys have to improve more, you can make the argument that when everybody looks bad, The blame should go towards the manager. If these slow, cautious patterns are actually Slot's instructions, then Liverpool have a tactical issue. The team keeps doing the same thing over and over again. Short, safe passes, then a forced ball down the wing. It's predictable and lifeless. At times, honestly, Liverpool look like a Sunday League team that's missing their best midfielder. A bunch of sideways passes, and then eventually someone just hoofs it up. You know what's not predictable and lifeless though? Getting your own Liverpool jersey at buygamejerseys.com. Use code PETTALKS at checkout. Slot's tactical setup currently doesn't fit the players. It might just be the growing pains from trying to change the style too quickly, but it's obvious that this version of Liverpool is nowhere near as dynamic as they were in the previous season. Though in Slot's defense, there's only so much he can do when the players can't even make 5-yard passes. They're not comfortable passing out from the back, the midfield doesn't link well with the forwards at all, and when the team pushes too many players forward, they leave themselves wide open on the counter. In fact, Carragher talked about this to Slot in the beginning of the season.
Arne, can I just say that worries me a little bit?
What?
When you say that's the team that we are, with so many bodies going forward. Am I allowed to say that? Sorry, boss.
No, you're allowed to say this.
And then even in the final third, you'll see 5 players standing on the last line, waiting for a miracle pass, instead of dropping short or creating options. There's just no movement, no creativity, no fluidity. Some people will say that they saw this poor run of form coming since day one. After the first Premier League game, there were warning signs. Too many players bombing forward, not enough control, no balance.
I think what stood out for me watching your Liverpool team last season was how much control you had in games, and I very rarely saw end-to-end games. I feel like I'm seeing that today and in the Community Shield. Is that a worry for you? Because there's a lot of attacking talent on the pitch now that maybe wasn't there as much last season.
You see, in the beginning of the season, Liverpool's wins kept papering over cracks. 5 games in a row where these guys won because of late goals. The fact that they kept winning in this fashion caused a divide in opinion. The optimistic people argued that Liverpool winning games when they were playing bad showed their mentality as champions. The fact that they were able to grind out results despite not clicking yet showed just how high their ceiling was. But the other group of people argued that it was only a matter of time before their deal with the devil ran out. So the latter was correct. Now instead of winning games late, they're losing games late. They got a taste of their own medicine against Crystal Palace and Chelsea. Now some people, again like I said before, will argue that this poor run of form is actually a continuation of the second half of the 2024-2025 season. It's just nobody cared back then because the league was already wrapped up. I mean, these guys were going to Ibiza and then coming back to play games. So nobody judged the results back then, but now it's clear that teams have begun to figure out Slot's tactics more often now. While the attack hasn't looked great, the defending has been equally as shocking. Liverpool won the league by pressing as a unit from the front. They were a difficult team to break down. This season, they have been more open than Bonnie Blue, and it's been visible since the Community Shield. Everything was going well until Liverpool were carved open and ended up losing on pens. Every counter against the Reds turned into a high goal scoring opportunity. It also didn't help that Van Dijk, who in my opinion is the best center back in the world, looked like Dutch Maguire out there, making 2 very poor individual errors.
Virgil van Dijk is going to have a poor season, and you can clearly see that in some ways, he's getting older, his timing's a little bit off. For the equalising goal, if you look at his positional play on the equalising goal, he's trying to play offside when all of his teammates around him are 2-3 yards beneath him.
Now we can always brush off the Community Shield. It's one of those games where you can pretend it means something if your team wins it, but you can just as easily call it a glorified friendly if you lose. But the same pattern was visible again in opening day against Bournemouth.
You mentioned rest defence there, and it's been a problem in the pre-season, in the Community Shield, and here today.
Ekitike again showed his magic. He even got an assist to Gakpo, making him the first ever Frenchman to score and assist on his Premier League debut. While Liverpool's attack looked quality again, defensively they were more open than Salah's forehead before he went to Turkey. They blew a 2-goal lead and had to rely on a Mamma Mia moment to take the 3 points. While the money that was spent up front was providing dividends, their defense was very open. Just like the Crystal Palace game, it was so easy for Bournemouth to just hit them on the counter. Liverpool have so much quality that everybody wants to get forward. So when they lose the ball, it's basically a free path to goal. In the past, defensively, Robertson would shuffle across to make a 3-back in possession, creating this 3-1 shape in the build-up. But now with the arrival of Kerkez and Frimpong, the shape is different. We've seen Gravenberch drop between the center backs, while Kerkez pushes pushes wide and Frimpong pushes higher up or tucks into a narrow position. It was a similar story in the Community Shield against Crystal Palace. This time it was Curtis Jones or Dominik Szoboszlai who would drop back to make a temporary back three, letting Kerkez and Frimpong push up and start higher up the pitch. When it wasn't a midfielder dropping between the center backs, sometimes either Szoboszlai or Gravenberch would move into the half spaces to keep the back three shape. This helped the ball move quicker across the defense and opened up more passing options in the first phase of Liverpool's build-up. We saw this here and there last season as well, but it's been happening a lot more often this season. But this also means that when they lose the ball higher up the pitch, they are way more exposed on the counter. It also doesn't help that Liverpool don't have a natural holding midfielder. Yes, there's Endo, but he's the closer. He's not a guy that's regularly in the starting 11. They got away with it in 2025 because Gravenberch and McAllister were so good together. But keep in mind that Gravenberch's form dipped late in Liverpool's title-winning run. Now that was partly because of fatigue, but also because opponents started targeting him as a main spark in Slot's attack. In the 2025 season, Slot's go-to midfield was Gravenberch, McAllister, and Szoboszlai. They were all great on the ball, but also worked well together defensively. From the number 10 role, Szoboszlai was the engine. The guy led the press and covered the spaces behind Salah. Then behind him was McAllister and Gravenberch, who formed a solid partnership, and then behind those two was Van Dijk and Konate. In this system, Liverpool were very compact and ready to stop counterattack. Now though, with Wirtz as the new number 10, that balance has shifted. Now I'm not saying that the 22-year-old wonder kid is a problem, but Liverpool's midfield needs to adjust to fit him in. Once again, we saw this against Crystal Palace, where both of Palace's goals came from playing straight through Liverpool's midfield. For the first goal, Warren got past Wirtz and Szoboszlai, and with Jones sitting too deep, Kamara slipped Mateta in behind. Alisson bailed them out at first, but Palace still won a penalty soon after. For the second, Warren again broke through three midfielders to find Sarr after Gakpo lost the ball. It wasn't Van Dijk's best game, and with two new fullbacks in the line, the lack of chemistry between them showed, especially in the messy positioning for that second goal. Now usually I wouldn't put too much analysis into one game, but conceding goals has been a theme for Liverpool early in this season. Naturally, it's way too early to write Slot off. I always have to reiterate this point in the videos because people either don't watch the whole thing or they have very bad comprehension issues. Nobody's saying Liverpool are finished or that Slot is done or that they can't even win the Premier League. Liverpool are by no means out of the title race yet. The football isn't great, but the results haven't been a disaster either. Some want Slot to go back to the way the team played last season. Others think that we just need to be more patient. They believe that Slot's trying to build something for the long term, and these early struggles are a part of the process. It might cost a few games in the season, but in a few months, it could all click. Remember, that's the exact same thing that PSG went through before they won everything. There's also frustration within the fan base itself. Some of the overreactions I've seen from Liverpool fans is wild. If you are a sane person with a working brain, I suggest you don't go anywhere near Twitter. Losing a few games does not mean the managers lost the plot, especially when that same manager won the Premier League in his very first season. Like, this isn't Ruben Amorim we're talking about. This is Arne Slot. He has more than enough credit in the bank for people to have faith in him. Slot is a very smart coach who just needs some time to figure everything out.
This year, he's having to, he's got obviously Kerkez at left back. He's got different players in midfield. You're trying to fit, Florian Wirtz into that team, who's probably the most expensive signing. You're trying to make everything fit, and you're trying to do it quickly.
But it's a good test for him too. His first season was a meteoric rise. Hardly any big losses or setbacks. Now he's faced with a new big challenge. Last season it was mainly Klopp's team, his guys, his foundation. Now Slot is getting his own players, and he has to make it work. It's been messy, but if he can bring back some balance and confidence, things can turn around fast. Because deep down everyone knows what Liverpool are capable of. It's just frustrating to see them play like a team that's forgotten how good they really are. To see just how good this team can be when they are playing their own game, you have to watch this video right here.